America is world famous for its haunted film locations, where real ghost stories meet Hollywood magic. From eerie cemeteries and abandoned asylums to grand old hotels and mysterious mansions, these chilling places have inspired and hosted countless horror classics. Filmmakers and thrill-seekers alike are drawn to these haunted spots, making the USA a true stage for supernatural storytelling. Now we will visit the most haunted film locations in America. Number 1. Eastern State Penitentiary. In the heart of Philadelphia stands a fortress of fear, Eastern State Penitentiary, a crumbling prison that is often called the most haunted film location in America. With its massive stone walls, endless echoing cell blocks, and iron gates that creak like whispers of the damned, the prison has lured filmmakers for decades. It was here that scenes from major films like 12 Monkeys 1995, Animal Factory 2000, and Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen 2009 were brought to life. The decaying halls provided the perfect backdrop for madness, crime, and despair. But many who worked here say the ghosts of prisoners long dead refused to stay silent. During the filming of 12 Monkeys, actors reported strange cold spots even under heavy studio lights. Crew members swore they heard the sound of chains dragging behind them. But when they turned, there was nothing there except shadows that seemed to move. One actress recalled being shoved by invisible hands while rehearsing near cell block 12, an area notorious for screams and phantom figures. The director himself admitted to cutting scenes short because the crew grew too terrified to stay inside after dark. On the set of Animal Factory, a security guard discovered doors slamming shut on their own. Actors claimed they felt as though unseen eyes followed them, pressing down with a suffocating weight. Several members of the production team refused to enter the punishment cells, where prisoners once endured complete darkness. They said the air was too heavy, and one cameraman collapsed without warning, mumbling that he saw faces in the walls. When Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen filmed outdoor sequences, even the blockbuster energy couldn't chase away the sinister atmosphere. Extras felt icy fingers brush their necks, though no one stood near them. A stunt coordinator described hearing laughter echoing down the corridors, laughter that didn't belong to anyone alive. Stories from Eastern State go back centuries. Shadowy figures darting across abandoned cell blocks, whispers echoing in the silence, and ghostly apparitions peering from behind rusted bars. For filmmakers, it is a dream location, atmospheric, raw, unforgettable. But for actors, directors, and crew, it often became a waking nightmare. The prison is more than a backdrop. It's a place where history and horror blend, and every creak of metal or breath of cold air feels like the restless souls of inmates, forever haunting America's most terrifying film location. Number 2. St. Louis Cemetery. Number 1. In the sweltering heart of New Orleans lies St. Louis Cemetery. Number 1. A labyrinth of crumbling tombs, narrow passageways, and ancient stone crypts that rise like skeletal fingers out of the earth. It is one of the most iconic and haunted cemeteries in America, where history and horror are bound together. Over the years, filmmakers have been drawn to its eerie beauty, using it as a backdrop for dark and mystical stories. Movies such as Interview with the Vampire 1994, Easy Rider 1969, and Deja Vu 2006 filmed haunting sequences here, turning the cemetery into a character of its own, one that some believe still breathes with restless souls. Actors and directors quickly learned that St. Louis Cemetery. Number 1 is more than just scenery. During the filming of Interview with the Vampire, crew members described sudden temperature drops, even under the Louisiana sun. Extras whispered about seeing a pale woman drifting silently between the tombs, vanishing when anyone approached. One actress confessed she felt hands brushing her shoulders in an empty crypt, as though unseen mourners clung to her in sorrow. Easy Rider famously filmed a hallucinatory sequence among the graves, and the cast reported that their acting felt disturbingly real. The director claimed that the cemetery's oppressive silence made the crew feel as if they were trespassing on sacred ground. Some said they heard faint chanting, a rhythm like prayers, though no one else was present. A camera operator refused to return after his equipment mysteriously failed, batteries draining in seconds as though the dead were feeding on its energy. While Deja Vu filmed in the cemetery, reports grew darker. One actor said he saw a shadow crawl up the side of a tomb and then vanish into the stone. Another crew member swore that a locked iron gate swung wide open in front of him. Even the director admitted the location unsettled him, saying the cemetery had its own mood, one that refused to be ignored. Much of the terror is tied to Marie Laveau, the legendary voodoo queen of New Orleans, whose tomb lies here. Visitors, including actors and tourists, claim to see her spectral figure in a headscarf, glaring at trespassers. Some leave offerings at her grave out of fear of angering her spirit. For filmmakers, St. Louis Cemetery No. 1 is a dream location. Beautiful, atmospheric, steeped in legend. But for those who step into its narrow, shadow-filled alleys, it feels like walking among the dead, and sometimes, the dead walk back. Number 3. Biltmore Estate. Rising from the rolling hills of North Carolina, the Biltmore Estate looks like a castle torn from a dream, or a nightmare. With its endless corridors, echoing staircases, and shadowed chambers, it has long been a favorite for filmmakers in search of grandeur with a sinister undertone. Over the decades, the mansion has been the backdrop for many films, including The Last of the Mohicans 1992, Hannibal 2001, and Forrest Gump 1994. It even inspired the holiday romance A Biltmore Christmas 2023. But beyond the glamour of Hollywood, actors and directors whisper that the estate is alive with ghosts that never left its gilded halls. During the filming of The Last of the Mohicans, crew members swore the estate's silence was unnerving. Some reported hearing faint music in the empty banquet hall, like a waltz played for a ball long ended. An actress claimed she saw a shadowy figure glide across the grand staircase and vanish into the wall. The director later admitted he ordered extra lighting because the darkness in the corridors felt thick, like it was watching us. When Hannibal brought its chilling storyline to the mansion, the terror turned more personal. Crew members described footsteps echoing behind them, though no one was there. One actor recalled feeling a sudden burst of icy air rush across his neck during a scene, followed by the unmistakable whisper of a woman's voice calling his name. Another day, a prop master refused to return to the estate after witnessing a door slam shut on its own, hard enough to crack the wood. Even Forrest Gump, a film far from horror, carried its own haunting moments while shooting at Biltmore. Several extras working in the estate's gardens reported seeing a woman in old-fashioned clothing wandering the grounds. They assumed she was part of the crew until she vanished before their eyes. One cameraman grew so unsettled that he insisted on never walking the hallways alone. Legend has it that the spirits of George and Edith Vanderbilt, the original owners, linger in their beloved home. Staff and visitors alike claim to hear Edith's ghost softly calling George's name in the library, or to see figures staring from the upper windows long after the estate is closed for the night. For filmmakers, Biltmore offers splendor and scale. But behind its elegance lurks an atmosphere heavy with sorrow, where the line between cinematic fiction and supernatural reality is terrifyingly thin. To step into Biltmore is to risk finding yourself in a story written not by Hollywood, but by the restless dead themselves. Number 4. Hotel del Coronado. Hotel del Coronado in Coronado, San Diego, is one of the most iconic seaside resorts in America. But behind its glamorous history lies a chilling legacy that has made it one of the most haunted film locations in the country. Its Victorian charm and breathtaking oceanfront have drawn countless filmmakers. Notable productions include Some Like It Hot 1959 with Marilyn Monroe, The Stuntman 1980, and Wicked 1973, along with many paranormal documentaries and television specials. But during these shoots, cast and crew experienced events so terrifying that many swore never to step inside the hotel again. The haunting of the Dell centers around Kate Morgan, a young woman who checked into the hotel in 1892 and never checked out. She was found dead on the beach with a gunshot wound to her head, and since then, her spirit has roamed the hotel halls, especially near her old room on the 3rd floor. During the filming of Some Like It Hot, crew members claimed their equipment went missing only to reappear neatly stacked outside Kate's room. Marilyn Monroe herself allegedly refused to stay in the hotel after reporting cold spots and whispers echoing through her suite. While filming Wicked, strange activity escalated. One actress was locked inside her room from the inside even though the door bolt was broken. Cameramen swore they saw a shadowy female figure in Victorian dress drifting across the grand staircase. During a night shoot, the director felt icy fingers touch his neck and turned to find no one there, just a sudden, suffocating smell of perfume. The most terrifying encounter came during the production of The Stuntman. Actors rehearsing a scene on the balcony froze in fear when the glass doors began rattling violently as though struck by unseen hands. One actor later confessed he had seen a pale woman staring at him from the beach below, only to vanish before his eyes. Crew members were so unnerved that additional security was placed on set, not to keep people out, but to protect them from whatever haunted the inside. Unlike other haunted film locations, Hotel del Coronado carries a deceptive beauty. Its bright red rooftops, white walls, and sunlit corridors lure visitors into comfort. But beneath the glamour lies the restless spirit of Kate Morgan and countless ghostly echoes. For filmmakers, the Del offered more than a backdrop. It delivered an unforgettable brush with the supernatural, where the line between Hollywood fiction and haunted reality blurred in the most terrifying ways. Number 5. Martha's Vineyard. Martha's Vineyard, the picturesque island off the coast of Massachusetts, is one of the most recognizable film locations in America, forever etched into cinematic history. Its quiet harbors, sandy beaches, and quaint villages made it the perfect backdrop for Hollywood classics. The most famous of all is Jaws 1975, where the fictional Amity Island was brought to life. Other notable films include Jaws 2 1978, Jaws, The Revenge 1987, and Sabrina 1995. But beneath its coastal beauty lies a reputation for ghostly tales that have terrified both locals and those who came to film. During the shooting of Jaws, eerie occurrences plagued the cast and crew. Actors often complained of sudden icy chills while filming on the otherwise sunlit beaches. Steven Spielberg himself reportedly grew uneasy when equipment malfunctioned without reason, especially near East Chop Lighthouse, a site long rumored to be haunted by the ghost of a drowned sailor. Crew members swore they saw shadowy figures moving along the shoreline at night, though no footprints were ever found in the sand. When Jaws 2 was filmed, the atmosphere turned darker. One actress recounted being pulled under by an unseen force while rehearsing a simple water scene. She screamed for help, convinced she was drowning, though divers later insisted nothing was near her. Several cameramen working late nights claimed to hear the cries of women echoing across the water, only to find the beach empty. Local legends tie these sounds to the sea witches of Martha's Vineyard, ghostly women said to lure sailors to their deaths. The most unsettling events came during Jaws, The Revenge. Actors rehearsing near a deserted dock felt a violent shudder beneath their feet, as if something enormous was thrashing below. One actor refused to continue filming after he claimed he saw a pale, skeletal hand rise briefly from the waves before vanishing. Even the director admitted he felt constantly watched, describing the sensation as though the ocean itself carried angry spirits. Unlike other haunted film locations confined to hotels or prisons, Martha's Vineyard carries an open, boundless eeriness. The sea itself becomes a stage for ghostly apparitions, and its winds whisper legends of sailors lost, shipwrecks buried, and curses cast. For filmmakers, it was not only a location of cinematic magic but a place where the ocean blurred the line between natural and supernatural, turning their shoots into encounters with forces far beyond their control. Number 6. Sallie House. The Sallie House in Atchison, Kansas, may look like a quiet Midwestern home from the outside, but inside it holds one of the darkest reputations in America. This modest two-story home has been labeled one of the most haunted houses in the nation, and filmmakers are drawn to it because its horrors don't need special effects. The house provides its own. It has appeared in paranormal shows like Sightings 1990s, A Haunting, and Most Terrifying Places in America, along with being featured in multiple documentaries and horror films that use its true legend as their backdrop. The haunting centers around Sallie, a young girl said to have died during a botched surgery in the house. Her restless spirit, however, is not innocent. While some describe her as playful, others believe something darker uses her name to torment anyone who enters. During the filming of Sightings, cameras malfunctioned in ways technicians couldn't explain, and batteries drained within minutes. One actress claimed she felt sharp scratches across her stomach while standing in the nursery, and when she lifted her shirt, bloody welts appeared as if cut by unseen claws. Filmmakers who worked on A Haunting also experienced terrifying events. A director recounted that doors slammed shut violently while no one was near them, and an audio recorder captured the faint giggle of a child followed by a growl too deep to be human. Several cameramen swore they saw a shadowy figure dart across the hall, only to vanish into the walls. Some refused to stay overnight in the house, leaving equipment behind rather than facing the oppressive presence after dark. Another independent film crew shooting a horror reenactment in the Sallie house reported one of the most disturbing incidents. While filming in the basement, long thought to be the most evil part of the home, lights flickered, and one actor fell unconscious after complaining of chest pains. When he awoke, he claimed he saw a woman with hollow eyes crouched beside him, whispering his name. The production wrapped early, and several members refused to ever return. Unlike grand hotels or sprawling prisons, the Sallie house is terrifying because of its normalcy. It looks like any ordinary home in a small Kansas town, yet inside it breathes with rage, fear, and something that feeds on attention. For directors and actors, filming here is not simply making a movie, it is stepping into a nightmare that has been replaying for decades, where Sallie or whatever hides behind her name is always waiting to make itself known. Number 7. First Baptist Church. At the heart of Old Wilmington stands the brick face of First Baptist Church, its steeple catching the sun by day and throwing long, accusing shadows by night. For filmmakers, the church is a perfect frame, stately, weathered, and soaked in history, and its corners have appeared on screen in films such as The Conjuring 2013 and Blue Velvet 1986, and in many other Wilmington productions that use Market Street's haunted mood. The town itself is Wilmywood, and the church sits like a curtain between ordinary life and something older, colder. On the set of The Conjuring, locals and crews say the church's exterior seemed to hum with presence. Extras complained of sudden gooseflesh on bare arms even in warm weather. A production assistant told a local paper he felt the hairs on his neck lift while standing alone by the stained glass windows. Cameras captured more than planned that day. A few frames showed a dark blur at the edge of the choir loft that editors could not explain. After sundown, gaffers refused to leave equipment unattended on the church steps because of shadowy movements anyone could see but never catch. For Blue Velvet, Wilmington's quiet streets became dreamlike and sinister. First Baptist Stoop was a place where scenes folded into the town's undercurrent of unease. Members of that crew later described an incident where a lead actor felt an icy breath pass his ear between takes. Though the air was still, he stepped back and saw nothing. Only the church doors closed tight, as if refusing to let him go. Locals say the church has long been a crossroads for restless spirits. Funerals, storms, shouted prayers, all have left marks a living eye cannot always read. Across other Wilmington shoots that brush the church, comedies, dramas, even action films, a pattern appears in the stories. Lights that blink without wiring faults, microphones that record whispering when no one speaks, and extras who refuse to stand on the front steps after dark. One director confessed in a town interview that during night exteriors, the crew often felt watched from above, from the bell tower, where the echo finishes a line of dialogue with a sound no human mouth made. First Baptist is not theatrical darkness on demand. It is a place where architecture remembers the people who pass through its doors, and sometimes those memories press back. For filmmakers, it gives mood and weight no set designer can fake. For actors and crew who have stayed late, the church can feel like a living witness. Patient, quiet, and ready to remind anyone who will listen that some scenes are filmed for cameras, and some are recorded into the stone. Number 8. Crescent Hotel. The Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, is often called America's most haunted hotel, and for good reason. Standing tall since 1886, its Gothic beauty hides a terrifying past. Once a luxury resort, later a hospital run by a conman Dr. Norman Baker, and now a functioning hotel, it has soaked up tragedy, death, and despair in its very walls. This eerie reputation has drawn Hollywood's attention, making it a favored backdrop for horror and supernatural films. Movies like Ghost Hunters, the Crescent Hotel Files documentary-style feature, Haunted Eureka 2015, The Haunting of Crescent Hotel 2020, and parts of indie horror films like Thriller Theater have been shot here, using the chilling corridors, grand staircase, and shadowy rooms to bring fear to life on screen. Directors have admitted that the location itself did most of the work. The atmosphere was so heavy and unnerving that little acting was needed, but filming here has not been without sinister consequences. One actress filming a night scene in room 218, known as the most haunted, screamed uncontrollably when a hand supposedly grabbed her ankle under the bed. Crew members rushed in, only to find no one there. The actress refused to step into the room again. A cameraman reported seeing a woman in Victorian dress glide past him during setup, thinking she was an extra in costume. But when he asked, everyone insisted no such actress was on set. Even worse, several directors claimed batteries drained instantly, lights flickered, and equipment malfunctioned only inside the old morgue, where Baker stored his so-called patients. One director later confessed in an interview that he awoke in his hotel room to a shadowy figure standing at the foot of his bed, whispering unintelligible words. Shaken, he left the hotel and finished editing the film off-site, saying, "The Crescent Hotel doesn't just want to be filmed. It wants to remind you it's alive." The Crescent Hotel isn't just a filming location. It is an active participant in the horror. Every scream, every shadow, every flicker of the camera seems to belong to the restless souls who refuse to leave its haunted halls.